Reach Beyond Australia. Our programs on this frequency will commence shortly. To these programs from Reach Beyond Australia, life-changing radio.
You reach beyond to us.
Welcome to WaveScan, the international DX program, researched and written in Indianapolis by Dr. Adrian Peterson and in Los Angeles by Ray Robinson, and produced in the studios of WRMI Shortwave in Okeechobee, Florida. I'm Jeff White. This is edition NWS 840 for release on Sunday, March 30th, 2025. On the program today, broadcasting in the Cayman Islands. More about the chaos at VOA and the U.S. Agency for Global Media. We'll speak with Greg Teague, Frequency Manager at Reach Beyond Australia. And today, March 30th, is the beginning of the A25 broadcast season, and we're very happy that as of today, Sunday, the 30th of March, WaveScan is now heard across Asia at 2 additional times and frequencies via the facilities of Reach Beyond Australia. Specifically, listeners in India can hear us at 1400 UTC on Sundays on 11870 kilohertz, and listeners in Japan can hear us at 2230 UTC on Mondays on 17650 kilohertz. Of course, those broadcasts will also be heard well beyond those specific target areas in much of Asia and the Pacific. I'm sure Reach Beyond would love to receive reception reports for either of those 2 new transmissions. Well, this week in WaveScan, Ray Robinson in Los Angeles takes a look at the broadcasting scene in the small Caribbean nation of the Cayman Islands.
Thanks, Jeff. The Cayman Islands are located in the central Caribbean, due south of Cuba and northwest of Jamaica. There are 3 major islands in the Cayman group: Grand Cayman, with an area of 76 square miles, and about 75 miles to the east, 2 sister islands of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. The total population in the Cayman Islands is a little over 80,000, and the capital is Georgetown on Grand Cayman. These islands are a popular tourist destination, particularly for Americans who wish to escape the cold northern winter. The first European explorer to discover the Cayman Islands was the famous navigator Christopher Columbus, who visited the Caymans on his last Caribbean journey in May 1503. No evidence has ever been found that the islands were occupied before their discovery by Europeans, and the Cayman Islands have been a dependency of Great Britain since 1670. They were granted autonomous self-government in 1972. The name Cayman is derived from an old Spanish word meaning alligator. The territory's economy relies mainly on tourism and financial services, which are boosted by the attraction of offshore banking. The territory has never levied any income tax, capital gains tax, or wealth tax, making it a popular tax haven. There are over 100,000 companies registered in the Cayman Islands, more than the population itself. The government's main source of income is from indirect taxation, primarily import duties on all goods imported into the islands. Radio broadcasting came very late to the Cayman Islands, and up until the early 1970s, local residents had to tune their radio receivers to stations in other nearby countries, such as Jamaica and Miami for programming in English, or Cuba and Central America for programming in Spanish. The first radio station in the Cayman Islands was an educational FM station with 100 watts on 101.1 megahertz, which was opened somewhere around 1973. This station identified on air as ICCI-FM and was owned and operated by the International College on Grand Cayman. A private commercial FM station, ZFZZ, with 15 kilowatts on 99.9 megahertz, made its first appearance in 1997. The government-operated Radio Cayman in Georgetown is first listed in the 1976 edition of the World Radio and TV Handbook, with 3 transmitters, 10 kilowatts on 1555 kilohertz, 1 kilowatt on 1205 kilohertz, and 250 watts on 105.3 FM. According to a 1981 letter from Loxley Banks, the Director of Broadcasting, the station actually began broadcasting in December 1976. Additional test broadcasts were conducted in April 1977, and the station was officially inaugurated 3 months later on July the 13th, 1977. The medium wave transmitters were all closed in the 1990s. The 10 kilowatt medium wave transmitter at Gun Bluff on 1555 kilohertz was closed in 1994 due to the cost of operating the facility and the fact that the transmitter area had become built up with residential housing. The old and ailing 1 kilowatt unit on 1205 kilohertz was closed in 1999. So during the nearly quarter century that the medium wave units were on the air, this station was heard widely throughout the Caribbean and at times in the United States and occasionally even in Europe and the South Pacific. The station always verified reception reports with a courteous letter in English, duly signed by Loxley Banks, Director of Broadcasting. Radio Cayman is on the air these days from 4 FM transmitters in 2 different locations, Georgetown on Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac. The main channel, Radio Cayman 1, operates on 89.9 and 91.9 megahertz FM, while a second channel, Breeze FM, operates on 93.9 and 105.3. Here's an 8 a.m. ID from Radio Cayman 1 just a few weeks ago in February.
And then we'll talk about those other contentious issues that seem to be dividing the people of the Cayman Islands. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time by Foster's is 8 o'clock.
Order up, K-Man. Foster's Bay Market Cafe is now on the Let's Eat app. Eat app now. Foster's. Better because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
I'm April Cummings with your latest news. Stamp duty changes are in effect. CIDTV's Donna Bush has more.
The Cayman Islands government has expanded stamp duty concessions for Caymanian property buyers under the newly enacted stamp duty regulations.
Interestingly, as the population